Well, hello, friends. Welcome back to Commute Talk. It is pretty cold today, but in my heart, I feel warm. So that's what counts, right? So today I thought I would talk a little bit about positivity because I got this nice comment on yesterday's video from a Karen saying that they like the positive message on this channel, and I'm really glad that you can see that and that it's coming through, because I think positivity is a very, very important thing, and it's a weirdly scarce resource sometimes, especially on a platform like YouTube, which it's a bit sad to say, but it really does reward negativity. But I don't necessarily think that's YouTube's fault. It's just that as humans, we're probably a little bit hardwired to listen to negativity or listen to warnings, and I'm sure that there's some biological explanation for that that someone could come up with. But I know from personal experience that it's very easy to get sucked into the whole spiral of hating on things and shitting on stuff, and just the certainly in the programming subculture, probably in every subculture, but I know programming, so I'll talk about that. But probably you're familiar with the this way of thinking that, oh, this and that sucks, right? Like, that programming language sucks, my language is better. That operating system sucks, my operating system is better. It's such a common thing, especially when you first get into programming and you sort of latch on to someone who has more experience, and there's this values transfer that happens, and you sort of absorb everything that they know, and a lot of it good and useful, but usually something bad too, like the prejudices and the assumptions that person holds. And I was no different. Like, I picked up a lot of negativity, and certainly when I first got into Linux stuff and open source stuff, there was a huge element back then of Microsoft sucks and Windows sucks, and Linux is so much better and open source and superior in every way and blah blah blah. And there were no like intellectually curious arguments being made here. It was just a complete tribal thing. It's like, out-group sucks, in-group rules, right? And I think that sort of mentality destroys more value than it creates. And I think that you have to be conscious if you want to go against that stream, because negativity is rewarded instantly, right? Because you can even see, you probably recognize this, like how easy it is to form social groups or social bonds with strangers if you agree that something sucks, right? It's like the foundation of many friendships, that two people agree that something sucks. And I've been like that too. I've had friends that we didn't really agree on anything other than something sucking. And it's a very hollow kind of thing. And I don't want to put that out on the internet. So I try to stay positive and talk about things that I like, things that I think are good, and the things that I think are not good, I don't talk about them. And maybe if somebody asks me directly, I will say, well, I'm not particularly fond of that because of these reasons, but you're not going to hear from me that something sucks, right? Because I try to be very conscious of not going into that trap. And I'm sure that I could raise a bit more attention on the internet if I start saying that this and that sucks, and I'm right and you're wrong, and these type of things. But that type of attention is not, it's not the type of attention I'm looking for anyway. And I don't want to tell anyone what to do or how to do their things. Rather, I'd like to share how I do things and maybe show you something that you hadn't seen before, hadn't thought about, or didn't know about. And you can find something useful here and add it to your own toolkit. And I don't know. It's definitely higher effort than complaining, but it's like it has its own reward built into it. Because if you're positive, then it never feels draining or hollow afterwards. Like if you talk something up, or you say, I like this and that thing, or I think that's cool. It doesn't come with that aftertaste of, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like, imagine that we forget about the internet and we're like in the schoolyard, right? And I say, that person sucks behind their back. And now there's just this instinct in me, because I'm a human, I have this instinct to look over my shoulder and see, did that person hear me? And I think that even if we're on the internet or wherever we are, and we shit on something else or someone else, then there's some instinct in us that makes us feel uneasy afterwards. And I don't want to invite that feeling into my life, so I try not to do it. Now, that's not to say I'm perfect. I'm no saint or angel. Like, I will complain about things sometimes and slip up, but it is something that I'm consciously trying to avoid. And I think that there's tremendous value in rejecting those things as much as possible and keeping them out of your life. Anyway, but like sometimes I get asked questions, especially for Commute Talk, like, hey, what do you think about this thing? What do you think about this guy, this project, or this video, this conference talk, or whatever? And I always look into those things, but sometimes I find myself with more negative things to say than positive, and at that point I would much rather not say anything than try to say something nice just to mask the negative feelings that I have. I don't know, because that doesn't feel genuine either. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like my thoughts about this are really fully formed, but I have this gut feeling that it's better to be positive, because then you have a clean slate. It's a lot like if you don't lie to people, then you never have to remember how you lied, because I don't know, like, not everyone will be familiar with this, but for me, like, having lived with like secret drug problems and things like that, I'm very familiar with like habitual lying and just like having to keep track of all the lies that I told to people, so that I can recall them later, so that I can have a consistent story and all of that crap. Like, if you know what I'm talking about, then you really know what I'm talking about, and if you don't, then that's a really good thing, and please never investigate. But it reminds me of that, right? Because if you lie, then you have to remember how you lied, and if you say negative things, then you have to remember those negative things, and especially if they come emotionally. Like, if you don't filter your emotional negativity, then it's very easy to put out a lot of stuff that you might not even remember, you might not even mean. You just felt negative in the moment and you wanted to hate on something. This is a channel with a positive message, and I try to be a person with a positive outlook, positive message, and I want to help people, I want to inspire people, and I want to show people maybe things they hadn't seen or things they hadn't considered, and if I can get someone fired up about creating something or building something, then I'm happy. Like, that's what I want to do. And I don't want to make anyone feel less, or to make anyone feel like they're wrong about something, or like that they don't belong somewhere, or that they're doing something wrong. Like, that's not interesting. Anyway, it's good to have these talks, because it gives me a chance to process. Like, I'm very much a think by talking kind of guy, so it gives me a chance to flesh out some of these thoughts. That's why I wanted to talk about positivity today. So I think that there's so much that we can do, and we have such amazing capacity and capabilities as programmers, and this field is just huge, and it's right before us, and you can run in any direction and find something awesome. And if you're gonna stop everywhere and like talk about why the thing that you're standing at sucks, you're never gonna get anywhere. And it's a huge field, and just run out there and play instead, you know? Okay, I'm losing my train of thought here, so I'm just gonna stop yapping. But I'm really glad if the message of positivity comes through. So thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me on the commute, and for listening to my positive ramblings. I'll see you next time. Bye.